Welcome to Capacity TV. I'm Alan Burkitt-Gray. I'm editor-at-large of Capacity magazine, and we're here live at ITW 2022, just outside Washington, DC, which is just across the river behind me. So welcome. I'm talking to Michael Wheeler, Executive Vice President for NTT's Global IP Network. Thank you, Michael. Now, here at ITW, you've just announced that NTT Data and NTT Ltd have combined. What does that mean precisely?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a complicated background, but ultimately when NTT Ltd was formed about 3 years ago, that was a combination of about 30 businesses, Dimension Data and NTT Communications being the big parts of that, but a number of other acquisitions we've done over the years.
You didn't know you've got so many brands inside.
Yeah, it's a large company, right? So there are a few pieces. So NTT Data is actually a separate business and has also done a number of acquisitions over time. So this is basically a next step in the process of bringing kind of this truly global organization together to have a global business and a kind of a single focus from an NTT point of view globally. So that's really the nuts and bolts of what it is. Because of the structure of the different entities, there's just a number of steps that have to happen in that process. So we're embarking on this, but it's really a progression of something that started a few years ago.
Okay, so you're going to be known as what, NTT Data in the future or NTT Ltd?
So at this point, they haven't actually announced the go-forward company name. There's still some details of that are getting sorted out. What basically it will be is a global headquartered overseas operating company that will have all of the businesses of NTT Ltd and NTT Data that are not in Japan under that umbrella.
So it's the non-Japanese operation for NTT. Exactly. Right. Okay, that's, I hope, clear. What provoked this? Was it just that you got so many brands and wanted to bring them all together into one umbrella?
I think that's certainly a benefit, but I think the main benefit was we really, for a number of years, the strategy has been to find and lead solution deliveries to customers kind of at all levels, but truly at a global level. And so whether it's a smaller enterprise or a large scale, service provider that we would typically work with, we wanted to be able to offer them a broad set of services, kind of full stack, if you will. And so bringing the companies together provides kind of application-driven services from NTT Data, but infrastructure-related services from the NTT Ltd teams.
So it's not just bringing the two companies together, or the multiplicity of companies behind that, it's bringing all the products and services together into one organization.
Exactly. NTT Data has expertise at the application layer in particular. NTT Ltd is more of an infrastructure provider, so bringing those pieces together allows us to offer kind of a fully comprehensive set of solutions for customers. We've collaborated together as parts of the same overall company for a number of years, but bringing them together under one umbrella really will help kind of remove any of the, potential barriers that have been created over time. Excellent,
good. So this is coming at a time when I hope we're all emerging from the pandemic. I mean, this is the first full-scale ITW since 2019, right. When it was in Atlanta. First one I've been to since 2018, when it was in Chicago. But what's been the effect of the pandemic on networks? Because you've really helped to hold the world together. Keeping the world connected, as the GLF slogan is, but it's really meant we've all been able to continue working, talking to our families and friends and so on. Right. I mean, what's been NTT's contribution to all this?
Well, I would say, so I think for our contribution as a global internet backbone, it was certainly something that was not predicted. We didn't plan for this to happen. It's like nobody else did. But those first 3 or 4 months in particular, we saw a fairly massive spike in traffic. Yeah. A spike in traffic that we had never seen over a period of time before. And so, we obviously needed to make sure and respond to that from an operational and delivery perspective for our customers. I would broaden then to say I think the industry at large from an internet backbone perspective globally really did a great job working together, helping deliver like things you just talked about, education, communication, changes of business operations, digital transformation. Those things were accelerated massively.
Don't forget streaming video, so we could all keep
right.
entertained.
Yeah, that as well, right? So all of those different aspects really leverage off the internet at its core. And so there's a lot of applications, a lot of use cases, a lot of tools and things that were being used, but riding across a network or a series of networks that had to interconnect and be able to pass traffic effectively and efficiently. And as an industry, I think we did a very good job with that. I think our team did well, but I also think our industry did really well.
A lot of people have said that during the pandemic, there was really a big problem of network security. So is that true? Is that what people say is true? Is it true? And what's NTT's contribution been to solving that problem?
Yeah, so similar to what I was talking about a minute ago, the level of utilization across the network grew pretty dramatically over a short period of time and then sustained itself. As more users and more devices are on the network, more applications being used, the potential for network security issues to be a problem obviously increased as well. So
the network, services got to places where they were never before. They've got into people's bedrooms and people's kitchens and dining rooms, because that's where they were doing corporate information, because they were working from home.
I think some of those security issues are outside of our realm, but from a network security perspective, we kind of stayed focused on that. And so we continue to do the things we've done before, but again, looking at anytime you talk about network security, especially denial of service attacks, the vectors that are being used and the combination of vectors, changes a lot. And so we're, kind of in a perpetual process of trying to defend attacks that are coming and to address those in a proactive way. But in general terms, I would say the biggest, to be honest, spike and kind of concern around attacks actually have happened in the last couple of months with the situation in Ukraine. Yeah. And there have been a lot of things happening around that, and kind of things that are atypical in a lot of ways. So,
what sort of things? Be a bit more specific.
So I'll probably not be super specific, but ultimately just, there have been very documented attacks happening from certain groups to particular parts of the internet. At the end of the day, we want to be able to have the internet provide, very open access to anybody who needs and has the ability to use it. And when you get into a situation where they've got geopolitical issues involved, different groups take a different position on how to approach that. And so, the free flow of information across the internet is an important thing for us as a society, and we're committed to kind of helping that be the case.
Right, okay. So Michael, thank you very much. What, finally, are the strategic priorities between now, and that is May 2022, and say a year's time?
So I think from a day-to-day perspective, the priorities are similar to what we've always had, which is to deliver, the service to customers that they require on a global level, in a cost-effective way. The reality, I would say, in the industry today is that we're still, and will be for a while, kind of unraveling some of the supply chain issues that we've seen over the last couple of years. Again, not predictable. No one can say, oh, someone should have known that in advance.
Were they pandemic related, or were there other
Absolutely, issues? Yeah. Manufacturing in particular has been affected, as well as just shipping in general as well. So, and those continue to be affected. And I think that'll still be something we're working through as an industry for the next year or two, possibly, till it really kind of settles back into what it was like before. But things like just-in-time procurement don't mean today what they meant 3 years ago. Very different realities in that regard.
Yeah. What particular shortages have there been?
Particularly on the a hardware side in regards to routing hardware, that kind of infrastructure in particular, I would say, are the biggest impact. There are other smaller impacts, but that's the biggest one.
Well, Michael Wheeler of NTT, whatever particular brand you settle on over the next few weeks. Michael Wheeler, thank you very much. It's been good to talk to you for Capacity TV.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Good to be here.